the 5th chapter, Parak Hey. Shotetu bachutzot Yerushalayim ureuna udeu uvakshu berchovotea im timsu ish im yesho semishpat mevakesh emunah ve'eslach la. Look through the streets of Jerusalem. Search all of its squares, all of its streets. Doesn't matter how much searching you do, like looking in every nook and cranny for a piece of bread before Pesach, you will not find somebody who's acting justly, who's searching out to do things the right way, that I shall pardon her. And to me, of course, sounds like stone. God without her, are 50, are there 40? God says, look through all Jerusalem, there's nobody righteous. Really nobody? Maybe there's 9 people. But that's what it sounds like. It's going to be a complete destruction. V'im chai Adonai yomeru, lachein lasheker yishaveu. And if one says, Chai Hashem, as God lives, swearing by God, language that we saw used, especially by the person who was the most obedient to God, Eliyahu, he didn't think anybody else was obedient to God. Those were his words that he used right when he appears on the scene, way back, I think in chapter 17 of the First Kings, when he appears to Achav, and he says, I swear by God, Chai Hashem, that there's going to be no rain. Anybody who's using those words, they're just swearing falsely. Adonai einecha halola emunai kito tamvlo chalu kilata me'anu kachat musar chizku pneihem misela me'anu lashuv. Oh God, with your eye look for integrity. Struck them, but they no pain. You consume them, but they didn't accept it. They got a zest. They should have understood. We said this a couple of days ago when they saw the destruction of the northern tribes of the Malchut Yisrael. Maybe Yehuda should have taken it to heart that they could be next. That's why 2 chapters ago, Yirmiyahu even calls them worse. Gave them the opportunity, the chance, but they didn't take it. But they made their faces harder than rock. They refused to turn back. Vani amarti ach dalim hein. No alu kilo yadu derech Adonai mishpat Eloheim. And I thought, these foolish people, they don't know God. They don't know the rules of their God. And if you think about something that's going to happen in the time of Yirmiyahu, even after the destruction, even after the burning of the Beit HaMikdash and the complete destruction of Jerusalem, there's still members of Bnei Israel who don't get it. We know that from the as a point in Nebuchadnezzar to be sort of the Jewish mayor, whatever we might word might be used, of Jerusalem, and the people who've remained through the destruction, and the Jews go and kill him. So they don't anything that happens, they don't learn from it. Continuing in Pasuk Hey, verse 5, El Chali El Agdolim V'Adabra Otam Ki Hema Yadu Derech Adonai Mishpat Elohem Achema Yachdav Shavru Ol Nitku Moserot. I'll go speak to the wealthy. They must know the way of God. They must know the rules. But no, they too have ripped off the yoke. They've snapped the bonds. And think of the image of the yoke as something we'll come back to later in the book of Yirmiyahu. Al Kain Hikam Aryeh Meya'ar. And therefore the lion of the forest, remember yesterday's chapter is understood as being probably Nebuchadnezzar, has come forest. Ze'ev Aravot Yishtadein. The wolf of the desert as well. Namer Shoked Alarim. The leopard lies in waits next to their cities. Kol Hayotze Mehena Yitaref. Whoever leaves their cities will be torn to pieces. Ki Rabu Pishayem Atzmu Meshuvotehem. For their transgressions are many, their rebellious acts are unnumbered. So the last chapter was only the lion has come forth. Now it's the lion, it's the leopard, it's the wolf. Everybody is united together, whether it be literally those animals or whether those be allusions to different nations, to go and attack Bnei Israel for all of their immorality and adultery. Why should I forgive you? You've forsaken me, you've left me, you've sworn by below Elohim, by gods who were not gods, by idols. You committed adultery. It's like you went to the prostitute's house. Maybe they really went to the prostitute's house, or the idea here of the prostitute being adultery. Susim miyuzanim mashkim hayu. They were like lusty stallions. Ish el eshet re'ehu yitzhalu. Each, braying at another's wife. Adultery. And again, it could be literal adultery, and the idea of adultery being idolatry, turning on God and cheating on God. Shall I not punish such deeds? Shall I not bring retribution to such a nation of this, that, right? Why did I bring them to Israel? Why did I give them this land? It was also, they would build a vastly superior, a moral society, one that cares about the poor and the hungry and is loyal to me. And that's not who they are. So why shouldn't I destroy this nation? Why should I bring punish to them? Alu v'sharoteha v'shachetu v'chala al ta'asu. Go and destroy, right? Destroy her vines. Go knock off the branches. They are not like God. That's not who they are. Ki vagod bagdubi Beit Yisrael uveit Yehuda num Adonai. A lot of alliteration in that pasuk. Vagod bagdu bi bait. Bait, a lot of bet and vet. The house of Israel and the house of Judah have betrayed me, declares God. And this is a real terrible accusation that the house of Yehuda is as bad as the house of Israel. Throughout the book of Kings, yes, there were moments where the house of Yehuda were bad, especially towards the end, during the time of Menashe, who lives prior to the time of Yirmiyahu, during his time period, his terrible reign, that the fate is sort of sealed at the temple. The Beit HaMikdash will be destroyed, and we have to start over. But to say again that they're as bad as Beit Yisrael, the northern kingdom, is really a terrible accusation, and it's not just a terrible accusation; it's a terrible statement about the members of the people of Yehuda and the Davidic dynasty and kingdom. Ki chashu b'Adonai v'yomru lohu. They've been false to God and said, no, that's not the way it is. Nothing will happen. No bad will happen. We'll see no sword or famine. They think it's the days of Yeshaya, where Yeshaya says to Chizkiyahu, no bow will breach the city. After Rav Shakan, the Assyrians under Sancheir, tell them that they have nothing to rely upon. Don't rely upon your God. That's what they're saying in this generation also. The prophets prove mere wind, for the word is not with them. They say this, but it's not going to happen. And during the time of Yirmiyahu, and we saw this back also, the time of Achav and Izebel had 450 prophets of Baal, idol-worshipping prophets that sat at her table, and they were the Ed McMahons, they were the yes men, yes, Johnny, whatever she wanted is what they said, and that's what they have here in this generation as well. And that's what's so difficult for Yirmiyahu, going back to the first chapter, when Yirmiyahu was told by God, you will go and don't be scared. That is to say, there are reasons for you to be scared. You're going to say to destroy nations, to destroy people. Don't worry, Yirmiyahu, I'll protect you. Because Yirmiyahu is saying mostly stuff that's not very popular. Continuing verse 14, Pasuk Yudal, Lachein ko amar Adonai leitzvot yan diberchem et hadavar hazeh, hineni notein dvarai beficha la'esh va'am hazeh etzim va'achaltam. As this is again the Lord of hosts. We had that a lot in the early parts of Yeshaya, the God of the tzava, of the army. I'm putting my words in your mouth, and the words like fire. And this people will be like firewood, which it will consume. I'm bringing a house to you, a nation from afar. Goy etanhu, right? It's a strong nation. Goy me'olamhu, goy lo teda lishono v'lo tishma ma yidaber. Nation you won't know their language, you won't understand what they say. And interestingly, this verse where it talks about a nation that's far away, of course, it's the Babylonians who come and attack Bnei Israel. And if you remember the first time that we saw the Babylonians, it was during the time of Chizkiyahu, after he was healed and after he was saved. And the Babylonians come in, they want to make a treaty with them, they want to be partners and allies against the great Assyrian Empire. And Yeshaya comes in, and who are those people? And Yechizkiyahu, he picks up his chest and he says, oh, they came from very far away. I'm so great. Look how far they came from. Well, that Goy is coming back from far away, but this time it's not to be allies of yours, kings of Yehuda. This time it's going to be destroyers. Ashpato, we're in verse 16. Kekever patuach kulam giborim. Their quivers are like yawning graves. They are mighty warriors. Vachal ketzircha v'lachmecha, yochlu banecha uvnotecha, yochal tzoncha uvkarcha, yochal gifancha uteinatecha, yeroshesh arei mivtzarecha, asher ata boteach bahena b'cherev. They will devour your harvest and your food. They will devour your sons and daughters. They will devour your flocks and herd. They will devour your vine and fig trees. They will batter you down with swords, the fortified cities that you rely upon. All of these things that you think that you have securely, that are yours, you've planted, and somebody else will come in and eat from them. And that's the reversal again, also of the second half of the book of Yeshai, which talked about Bnei Yisrael being so great that others were, in a sense, going to do their work, to apologize, to want to be close to Bnei Yisrael because they are close to God. But even during this time, I will not destroy you completely. I will not make an end of you. You will still be around. There is always a chance to come back. And when you ask, why could God do these things to me? You'll be told, you left me. You served foreign gods. You served idols. And therefore, you will have to serve foreigners in a land that's not yours. That is the midah keneged midah. Hagidu zot b'veit Yaakov ashmiu b'Yehuda lemor. Tell this to Yehuda and Yaakov. Listen, you foolish nation, heart. They have eyes but can't see, they have ears but can't hear. And you may be familiar with those words, of course. We say it's from Tehillim, it's from Hallel, but in Hallel, we're referring to the idols. The idols are oftentimes described as right. They have ears and mouths and different body parts carved into them, but none of them work. It's wood, it's stone, it's not. There's no potency to it. And here, what's being said, Bnei Yisrael are as bad as that. They don't listen to the words. They don't listen to Yeshai. They don't listen to Yirmiyahu. They don't listen to Amos. That's what they're like. Ha'oti lo tironu ma'adonai panai lo tachilu asher samti chol gvul hayam chok olam v'lo yavrenu v'yitga'ashu v'lo yuchalu v'hamu galav v'lo ya'avrunhu. Why don't they respect me? Why don't they fear me? Why don't they tremble before me? I'm the creator of the world. Why, right? There are waves tossing, the destruction is happening, chaos is coming. They can't pass through it, but they still don't respect me. But this people is a soreru moreh. Takes tomorrow, the Ben Soreru Moreh, the end of the first Aliyah, the wayward and rebellious son. That's who they are, the wayward and rebellious son. That's to be reported by the parents, brought to the gates, and is given the death penalty. That's what's happening to you, Bnei Yisrael. V'lo amru bilvavam nira nat Adonai Eloheinu anoten geshem yorel malkosh bito shivuot. Let us fear, let us honor the God who gives us rain early and in the late season, who keeps for our benefit, right? The time of harvesting, and here, of course, you're hearing, and this is a number of things. The last pasuk, this pasuk, a lot of devarim, right? Yoreh, Geshem, Yorel, Malkosh, from the second paragraph of Shema, Be'ito. There's a lot of devarim here in the book of Yirmiyahu that's Yirmiyahu's working off of. And right, why don't Bnei Yisrael recognize that? Avonotechem hitu ele, v'chatotechem manu hatov michem. Right, your sins have made you turn. Your sins are the things. That's why evil is coming to you. Kinim suva mi rishaim, because on my people I find wicked men. Yashur kashachi kushim hitzivu mashchit anashim yilkodu, who are lying in wait, setting to trap, to catch other people. But that's what they are. They're wicked, and they're trying to harm others. Kikluv malei oaf, just like a cage is full of birds. Came batei maleim mirma. So their houses are full of fraud, of trickery, of guile. Came lu. And that's why they have grown so wealthy. They're not grown wealthy because they were smart people. It's through fraud, it's through trickery, it's through taking advantage of others. Shamnu, ashtu, gam avru, divrei ra, din lo danu, din yatom, vayatzlichu, mishpat avyonim lo shafatu. They become fat and sleek. Their wickedness, in a sense, knows no bounds. They don't judge the orphan and help him out. They don't give a fair hearing to the needy. Here we have, which we don't have that often, but we have a very explicit reference here to Yirmiyahu saying that we have social justice issues. Society is not run properly. Why not punish people who do things? Shall I not bring retribution of wickedness like this? A terrible, horrible thing has happened in this land. The prophets, They're giving false prophecy. V'kohanim yirdu al yadehem, v'ami havukein. And the priests, they rule in this way, and my people like it, meaning they rule to favor the rich and the powerful over the average person. Umata asulachrita. But what will happen in the end to them? It won't be good what will happen. And so in these chapters, and there are going to be many terrible chapters from Yirmiyahu of horrors that are going to happen. Bnei Israel, they don't listen. They don't understand. We saw that also at times in the book of Yeshayahu. The difference was in the second half of the book of Yeshayahu. Yeshayahu said, they're like people who can't hear, but God's greatness is going to be so magnified that their ears will open, that their eyes will open, that they'll hear. That's not the case here. Bnei Israel don't hear, they don't listen. There are people who've become great in wealth and in power, but only through fraud and only through taking advantage of the needy. And because of that, God says, they will get their come up.